Hi, my name's Pete Keenan. This is my wife, Sarah. We live in Elmira, New York. I work for a nonprofit company that provides residential treatment and services to abused and neglected children. Specifically, I run a residential unit for abused and neglected girls, and Sarah is a stay-at-home mother to our 3 little boys. We get our insurance through the exchange through ACA.
So Pete and I moved home to Elmira, New York from Boston at the end of 2013. We were able to buy a home. Pete started his new job with the girls' home in Binghamton, and the decision was made that I would stay home with the boys. Now, prior to moving here, we both worked full-time in Boston and were covered by my employer's health insurance. Both of our older 2 boys were born while on the insurance. But when we moved home, the decision was made that I would stay home with them because my career didn't transfer as easily to this area as Peter's did. So after living in Elmira again and buying a house, we became pregnant with our child, who is now 1, Charlie. He was born in November of 2015. Prior to that, we had decided to, because we qualified, to get our insurance through the New York State exchange and effectively use the ACA as insurance for our entire family. Now, after Charlie was born, I became very sick. I had a C-section with him, which I had never dealt with before, and because of complications from that, I was hospitalized 2 days after he was born, and then about a week after that initial hospitalization, my incision opened up, and we had to deal with healing from that for about the next 6 or 7 months. That included trips 3 times a week to the local wound clinic. I had to wear a wound vac for 4 months. And it was a long, drawn-out process of infections and trying to get the wound to heal and not really feeling my best while also trying to take care of a newborn and his 2 older brothers. What made the experience at least tolerable was knowing that we were covered for these costs associated with it. That was one less thing that we had to worry about. Instead, we were able to focus on getting me healthy and taking care of our children. I can't begin to tell you what would have happened if we didn't have Obamacare, if we weren't covered by the ACA. I could hazard a guess that we would no longer be in our home. I don't think bankruptcy is too far of a reach. I can't begin to tell you what the total of my healthcare bills would have been had we not been covered.
It was just astronomical. In addition to Sarah's, health concerns when Charlie was born, I have a pre-existing condition of osteoarthritis. I've had my left hip replaced. I will soon need my right hip replaced. I've been putting it off for about a year or so to make sure that Sarah was healthy and that we were set up to be able to take the time off. And with the repeal of the ACA, getting that hip replaced will not be an option. Since the repeal of the ACA, I've had people that have come forward and called me lazy, even though I work 50-plus hours a week, and that my wife, Sarah, staying home with our children is a luxury, and that if we couldn't afford that many children, perhaps we shouldn't have that many of them. I just don't know if that's something that you, as a society, that you ever say to someone else. I just don't understand it. The ACA was put in place specifically to help all of us and people like us. Republicans like Tom Reed had 8 years in Congress to fix it. Instead of fixing it, he sat around and threw a temper tantrum and didn't do anything about it. And now he's going to take health coverage away from 20 million people.
And the thing with Pete and I, that we try to remember is to be grateful for the things that we do have, because we do have family, we do have friends, we do have resources to lean back on when things are hard. Obviously, not having health insurance is going to be a giant burden for our family, but I can't stress how lucky we are to have the things that we are, and to think on the people who don't have those things in place, or who are faced with a life-threatening disease, a pre-existing condition that prevents them from getting insurance. You're talking about taking away people's right to live a healthy and happy life. People will die because of this repeal. People will die because they cannot get their medication. People will die because they cannot have operations that they need. People will die because they put off going to the doctor for months and years because the cost associated with it is too great for them to be able to pay. And when they do go to the doctor, it's going to be too late. Healthcare is a human right. It's something that we all deserve. And the thought of taking it away from so many people without a concrete plan in place to take its place is irresponsible and downright cruel when it boils down to the people that you're talking about, because they're people like us. They're people like your neighbors. They're people like your parents, your grandparents, the person checking you out at the grocery store, the nurse at your doctor's office, the children that you teach in school. They're all around you. We're one and the same. And we can't allow this to go on.
I just have a question. What kind of human being takes away health insurance from little kids? I can't even fathom it. If you want to do something to help, call your representative. If you live in Congressional District 23, call Tom Reed's office. He'd like to hear. Call your senators. Call everyone you possibly can and tell them that this is wrong and they need to stop. It's up to all of us, because clearly none of them have been listening, and none of them have been listening for a long time. Thank you. And we're all in this together.
Thank you.